Good evening. You must be my 3 o'clock. I am William Afton, and you were the one who wanted to be the babysitter for my children while I'm out of town for the next few days, correct? Good. Take a seat. Before we begin, would you like a cup of tea? Yes, I've currently been drinking this very lovely cup of English breakfast tea. And it's perfect. I can pour you a cup if you'd like. You are more of a coffee person? Well, that already takes points against you. I'm going to tell you up front. This is a no coffee household. You will not bring any coffee here, and you will notice there are no coffee makers here. Tea only. Understood? Good. Now, I'm going to need to ask you some questions to see if you're fit to be the babysitter. There are some certain parameters I'm looking for in a person, and if you want the job, you are going to have to fulfill them all. And I'm quite the perfectionist, so I hope you're ready. First, what is your name? Very good. And age? I see, so still a teenager. Well, you're not much older than my oldest, but I need a babysitter for my younger 2 children. Why don't I just have my eldest babysit the other 2? Well, he's not very responsible. But you have an inquisitive mind and a problem-solving mind, so that, I suppose, can count for you. But yes, he's quite troublesome, so careful with that. Now, you live here in Hurricane, correct? Good, good. And you'll be available for all 3 days? And do you have any experience babysitting before? Oh, very good, very good. Oh, you've babysitted for Henry. Well, his children are much better behaved than mine, but still, his household is interesting, so if you can handle that, you may stand a chance here. Yes, he has quite the interesting house, doesn't he? I don't know why he chooses to keep it that way, but who am I to question him? Now, let's see here. Do you know how to cook? Well, yes, my wife likes my children to eat very healthy foods, and, well, I frankly don't care. She wants to make sure the babysitter does, and, well, I usually don't care what she thinks. I don't know the first thing about raising children, so if she says it's important, I'm sure it is. Okay, and how are your reflexes? Good, good, because that might be important. Now, I know you've babysitted Henry's kids, but have you ever dealt with more troublesome children? No? Well, then this will be a first for you if you get this job. They are quite troublesome, all of them, I assure you, in their own different ways. But we'll get to that. How observant are you? If you were to see something you shouldn't, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to report it? That might be troublesome. Could you get over that? Good. How strong are your ethics? Are you lying? Well, everyone is quick to say they have a very strong moral compass, when in reality I find that that's not always true. People want to believe that they are very ethical and morally correct, but in reality, well, if you say you have strong ethics, I'll write it down, but with a question mark. I suppose I'll need to figure that out for myself. It's not a question people are honest with often, and frankly, that's perfectly normal. Very typical, which is what I expect. Now, how good are you with children wanting to do something they're not supposed to do? Like, how good are you with stopping them? Because this is not going to be easy. My daughter Elizabeth is quite adamant about going to see Circus Baby, and don't let her. It's that simple. Just do not. In fact, I would prefer if you didn't take my children to Fredbear's or Circus Baby's, simply because, well, it is not safe, but only for them. It is safe for everybody else, of course. It is one of the safest places there could be. But don't let them go there without me, or things might be troublesome. Now, how good are you at staying out of places you're not supposed to go to? No, I don't mean like that. I mean, if I tell you, under any circumstances, do not enter my basement, will you listen? No matter what happens? Good. Because do not enter my basement, or you may see things that, well, I shouldn't get into that. Just don't go in there and everything will be just fine. But if you do go in there, you may find that you may never leave. Anyway, let's see here. So you say you can cook. Can you clean? Because I do not like messes, and I will not accept messes within my household, but my children can be very messy. And while you're the babysitter here, it will be your responsibility to clean up all the messes. For example, if one of my children were to cut off their hand or something, I don't know, and blood got all over the carpet, what would you use to clean it up? You've never been in that situation? Well, I didn't expect you did, but that is incorrect. That is not how you clean up bloodstains. Well, it's an important thing to know. Before the actual babysitting job, I want you to go to the library and check out a book on how to clean up any sort of mess or stain. I want you to read it. I want you to take notes on it. I want you to memorize it. And I want you to bring it with you during the actual thing. Like I said before, I do not like messes. Understood? Now, let's see what else. If the home phone rings, I want you to answer it immediately. If it is me, stay on the phone, obviously. If it is anyone else, hang up immediately. And then take a note of what you may or may not have heard. I'm going to need to know what it is you know. Okay, now here's another question. Do you have any younger siblings? How young? What about cousins? Age? That is too old. Okay. Well, do you have any children? Yes, I know you're only a teenager. Answer the question. No, okay. Do you have any... You have a neighbor who has young children? Ooh. Okay. How young? Really? Oh, that's perfect. Do you know this child's name? Oh, there's two of them. And one of them's really annoying to you? Well, perhaps I can deal with that little situation. What's the child's name? Susie. And what is her address? And that's what street? Okay. Now, are her parents always watching her? Or do they look away at times? Oh, like if she were to be playing in the front yard, would her parents be watching closely? No, but a dog would? I can handle a dog. A dog shouldn't be a problem. In fact, I could even use that to my advantage, even. Oh, don't mind me, I'm talking to myself. Not that any of that has anything to do with the babysitting job, which we should go over just in case you get the job. Like I said, you're not much younger than my eldest son, Michael. However, you are going to need to keep an eye on him because he is trouble. A lot of trouble. Now, he will be grounded for the first day you are babysitting him. Because he locked his brother in a cupboard for 17 hours. Yes. No one noticed until then. I don't see why that's a problem. Look, it's not my job to keep track of my children at all times. But it is your job. Make sure no one kidnaps them or tries to murder them or anything. Not that anyone in this town like this does that. Hurricane is a safe town after all. Okay, now, keep him away from his no-good friends. You'll know they're his friends because they'll all be wearing these, well, I should not say ridiculous because they are of my own company, but ridiculous masks of Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica. They wear these masks wherever they go, and it looks ridiculous. Mike was the foxy of the group. But yes, when the four of them get together, they cause quite a bit of trouble. They're going to get someone killed at some point, which I guess isn't awful, but will be a pain to cover up. Also keep Michael away from my youngest son, because he likes to pick on him a lot. He will mostly try to jump at him and scream at him, which will send my youngest son into another fit of crying. That's a pretty normal sound you will hear. You get used to it after a while. Now, Michael also likes to watch soap operas on TV. So if he wants to do that, that's up to you if you actually let him have the television. But he will try to watch them. And he will try to pop some popcorn, and yes, it's a whole thing. But if you want the TV, just kick him off it. Not that you should be watching much TV, you should be busy watching these children. They will get in trouble if you do not. But if you have a few minutes break, you can feel free to. Okay, let's move on to Elizabeth. She's my daughter. And she will try to see Circus Baby, like I said. Also, like I said, don't let her. Well, of course, there's nothing wrong with that, but Circus Baby is for the other children, not her. No, she was not made for her. I don't know where she got that stupid idea. Circus Baby was made for some other lucky child. Children. Circus Baby was made for plenty of children. Now, Elizabeth is obsessed with ice cream and will do just about anything for it. That being said, make sure she does not get kidnapped by someone offering her ice cream. She may try to go to the ice cream truck if it comes by. It's up to you if you actually let her. Yes, I will give you spending money for meals for the children, but spend it wisely. Don't just let Elizabeth spend it all on ice cream like she would love to do. Elizabeth also has a tendency to steal her mother's makeup and start smearing it all over her face in a way that she claims looks like Circus Baby. Try to prevent her from doing that, and if you have any makeup, keep it away from her. Yes, she will find it, no matter how hard you try to hide it. Also, she is currently in a baking phase Because Circus Baby likes cupcakes and birthday cake. So, don't let her use the oven. She will end up burning herself on it. Or starting a fire. That would be awful. Yes, no fire. That's another rule of the house. No candles, no fire, no fireplace. Not that we have one. Nothing that has anything to do with fire. If it does, it's banned. It's that simple. Not even incense, because you have to light that with a fire. If you carry matches, don't bring them here. Good. You don't have any matches on you, do you? Okay, good. That looks good on you, actually. Anyone who carries any sort of match or lighter is a disaster waiting to happen. But let's talk about my youngest son. You don't need to know his name. It's not really all that important. You know it's him because he will be the one that cannot stop crying. Yes, it's quite unfortunate how much of a crybaby he is. But it can't be helped, I suppose. Now, he really likes candy, so careful with how much he gets of that. He's afraid of just about everything, so like I said, you get used to the sound of him sobbing in the background. Don't try to comfort him from every little thing, it won't work. Yes, and his plushies. Ignore them. Ignore them completely, especially the Fredbear plush. Do you understand me? It does not speak. It does not move. It is not watching you. It is not doing anything of the sort. There's nothing special about that plushie. It is just a plushie. Understood? Good. But if you do see anything abnormal with it, ignore it. Also, ignore when he says that he's having nightmares or that he needs to be careful and check the closet or the bed. Just ignore that. Now, he's very paranoid and he will not trust you. The entire time you're here, I'm sure he won't. He doesn't like people. No, he doesn't like any people. He just talks to his plushies all day and pretends they're his friends or whatever. He most certainly does not get along with Michael, and Michael and his no-good friends will gang up to pick on him. Like I said, don't let it go too far, but also it is impossible to stop them completely. Sometimes it's just not worth the trouble. Now, he's a little particular about when people enter his room. He does not like it if you just open his door. He will freak out. What you are going to want to do is walk up to his door, which he will leave a crack open. You're going to want to stand there for a few minutes and breathe heavily. That is how he will know you were there, and then if he doesn't close the door, you can come in. If he does close the door, well, you have authority over him, so you can open it anyway. But he will get much more upset and likely shine a flashlight at you. Like I said, he's weird. He has very strong hearing. So, don't be surprised if he can hear what you say anywhere in the house. To be honest, all of his senses are extremely powerful, and he does not like bright lights, but at the same time, he's afraid of the dark. Yes, like I said, he's a strange child. But whatever he tells you, don't listen to it. It is the ramblings of a young child with way too much imagination. If he tells you there's a monster or something under his bed, just agree with him. Same with his closet or at his doors. Honestly, anywhere he says there's a monster, just go along with it. Well, it's much easier than arguing with him. That is not how you traumatize a child. And if it is, I don't really care. Do you really have that big of a problem with it? Gonna have to write that down about you. Well, sometimes you have to traumatize a child. It's not that big of a deal. They're young, they can get over it. Or they can't. It's not really my concern. Alright. So, you know everything there is to know about my 3 children, or at least everything I'm willing to tell you. Do you really think you're responsible enough for this? Like I said, they're nothing like any children you have ever babysitted before. But you think you can handle it? I like your commitment. I'm going to ask you again. How strong are your ethics? If you were to see something that you weren't meant to see, would you be likely to report it? Depends on what it is. That can't be the answer you give. You're going to have to keep everything you see here confidential. I don't often let people into my house. I don't want them to see things they aren't supposed to. But I know if I leave my children alone for 3 days, when I come back, they will all be dead in some way. I don't know. Elizabeth is going to walk up to Circus Baby and who knows what will happen there. I wouldn't know what would happen there. Michael is going to, I don't know, lose his insides somehow, and my youngest is going to get his head bitten off or something. I told you they're trouble. You wouldn't report it? At least not without consulting me first. Well, if you see anything you shouldn't see and you tell me about it, I can always erase the evidence. Well then, if that is the case, I think you would do nicely. Yes. If you really think you can keep up with all this, then I suppose we have a deal.